It feels like the media is pushing death, destruction, fear, violence, and division during these very critical, important times. And I have to point my fingers at some of the loudest voices and put some responsibility on them. What I hope this video does is provide some kind of compassion, humanity, or just common sense to this very important issue that's happening in New York City. Now, I just came from the public memorial of the 2 police officers who were killed here in New York City just 2 days ago. And being around some of the loved ones, the family members, the people who were close to the 2 police officers was an extremely intense emotional moment for me. I cannot fathom the loss that these people have to go through because of this senseless, violent, inhumane act. What I would hope was that the media would capture the lives of these 2 individuals, how important they were, who they were, their accomplishments, their achievements, that they would celebrate and pay tribute to the life that these 2 men lived and give them proper respect. But we don't see that. What we see is the media focusing on politicians, pundits, representatives, and just overall douchebags who are using this situation to politicize it, to blame their political counterparts, and to gain more attention and power for themselves. Of course, there's Rudolph Giuliani, who's blaming Barack Obama and the protesters, saying that the protesters are violent, they're lawless, they're blocking traffic, they created this tense situation that created this murder. But when you look at Rudolph Giuliani's history, in 1992 he led a march of 10,000 police officers that descended on City Hall to protest Mayor David Dinkins' creation of the CCRB. He egged protesters on as they stormed the Brooklyn Bridge and blocked traffic for 20 minutes. This is the same mayor condemning these actions by protesters who want to stop police violence. Again, the CCRB is the Community Review Board here in New York City, an independent investigation to look into police misconduct and police abuse. Now again, Giuliani's not the only hypocrite in this game. People are blaming Rand Paul because he had a photo op at a meeting with Al Sharpton. They're calling him anti-cop because of his rhetoric. He played a role in this. Al Sharpton, of course, is trying to make this about him and talking about how the death threats he has, and I wish he would just shut up. There's the police commissioner who says the mayor has blood on his hands. What many people don't understand is that the police union here in New York City has attacked every mayor in history. In recent history, the police union has gone after and attacked every mayor that New York City has had. In 1997, the police union protested Mayor Giuliani's insistence on incremental pay raises, and because of that, thousands of officers took to the streets to block traffic, chanting, "Rudy's a liar, set him on fire." Now, of course, we're seeing similar kind of rhetoric against the police recently in Ferguson and in New York City. I was present at both of these locations during the protest against police violence, and there were some individuals, sometimes a group of them, screaming for violence against the police officers. Again, that wasn't the majority of people there. That wasn't everyone there. That's not the sentiment from the people who are protesting against police violence. But you wouldn't know that because the mainstream media keeps highlighting just videos and videos of protesters chanting horrible things, calling for violence against police officers. There's one particular case about this that really sticks out. Now again, I was present at the protest. I did see a call for violence by the protesters against the police. I did see that. There's no denying that fact in any way, shape, or form. And there's no way anyone could condemn that, condone those activities. Now, a local Fox affiliate in Baltimore took a clip of protesters chanting, "We can't stop, we won't stop till killer cops are in cell blocks." They took that video and they cut it down so then all people could see, and they highlighted this issue. They said that the protesters were chanting, "We can't stop, we won't stop, so kill a cop." They obviously edited the original protest video. They're using it now to prop up more of an emotional outrage against each side. Um, what also I find very hypocritical about everything that we're seeing unfolding right in front of us is the fact that there's other politically motivated police killings that happened before, like in 2009, where a man who was a member of the Conservative Party, who was a Tea Party member, heard from the media that Obama is grabbing all the guns. He's creating Obama has a big gun grab. Because of this, he went on a tirade against police officers in Pittsburgh and killed 3 police officers. We've seen the situation unfold at the Bundy Ranch with Fox News promoting this, where protesters were pointing guns at police officers. Now, no matter where you stand on different issues or what you think, you cannot deny that there's hypocrisy unfolding, because they've been other motivated killings with individuals who wanted to start the revolution, whether it's a communist revolution or a Tea Party revolution or a liberal or a conservative revolution. With either extreme, there has been killings of authority figures and police officers, even recently, by either side. And there never has been such an uproar as is now, with people openly blaming the protest on the death of 2 individuals. Now, of course, the dividing lines have been set, but you have to understand what the mainstream media is doing, what all forms of media is doing, is they're highlighting the most aggressive, the most idiotic comments that they can. They're giving these people a voice, and without us watching them, without us paying attention to them, these individuals are nothing. But we give them a voice by paying attention to them. Now, what the mainstream media is doing, and obviously people always say if it bleeds, it leads. People always try to get the most outrageous comments because they know people will click on the article. People would want to hear what outrageous things the other side said. Well, what they're ultimately doing is dividing and conquering people, setting people on polar opposite sides, highlighting outrageous comments from either side, so then the other side has to defend. The real issues, the core issues, are never addressed. And to me, the core issues of what happened is that all human life should matter. Whether it's a police officer, whether it's a victim of police abuse, all lives should matter, no matter who they are. And we have to understand why these situations occur. They happen because of polarization. They happen because of radicalization. They happen because people are put off to these extreme sides, because people don't show compassion for Eric Garner and wear "I Can Breathe" t-shirts, because people don't show compassion at the memorial and they walk past it and they scream, "Good, I'm happy the cops died." Because of this, and because of the media just pinpointing them, laser pointing them, "Here, look at this, look at this." People are set to these extremes, and we're divided and conquer, and we lose all sense of humanity, all sense of common good and dignity, because the majority of the things that are happening, the majority of people are normal. The reason the not so normal, the reason the extreme people are highlighted, that don't speak for everybody, but they do once they have that one voice, is because media wants more viewership, and 2, it's a lot easier to divide and conquer people. And that, to me, is exactly what's happening. We do see forms of humanity that aren't highlighted as much as the idiotic comments, like Eric Garner's daughter coming and showing support, paying respects to the 2 police officers who were murdered here in New York City. We see protesters who are protesting against police violence light candles and pay respects to the police officers, because normal human beings know that human dignity, all life, is extremely important. Black lives, blue lives, it's only dividing us even more, and it's prevalent only because the media is there and people are paying attention to it. That's why when I came down to the scene, I tried to get down to the deep down of why this happened, and I tried to go after people who were building solutions, like this reverend who's in the community where the police officers were killed. And this reverend, she's helping kids create a community for each other with adults to provide proper nutrition, proper food, proper education. What happened with this monster who killed these police officers? Obviously, he was sympathetic to the protests. I'm not going to deny that fact in any way, shape, or form. But this man was mentally ill. This man was raised in a horrible environment. He had a horrible education, horrible nutrition, horrible food. All these contributing factors led him to be mentally ill, led him to be crazy, led him to be so reckless and be such a monster that he committed these horrible acts. How can we stop that? How can we prevent that? How can we go after the bigger issues and the bigger problems? And I think that a way of doing that is by being there for each other as a community, and that's why I put out this interview with this reverend who's trying to prevent these situations from occurring again. And I think that is extremely important, because the fact of it is, we're all human beings. We're all in this world together. There should be nothing dividing us. There shouldn't be all these people on television saying all these inflammatory things and dividing and conquering in this utter realm of hypocrisy. What needs to change is not only what you pay attention to, but to what you create. We are the product of our environment. We are the product of our thoughts. We are the product of what we put out there. If we decide to change that, if we decide to come together and pay respects to all lives, things would change. Please stop paying attention to these idiots, because without you, they have no power.